Well, I've just lit the fire. What's happening? What's happening with it? I don't normally light a fire when I'm going out, because I am going out, but yeah, I've got all this wood here, you know. Might as well burn it. I'm going to have a bath anyway, so it'd be nice to get out of the bath and have a fire on, yeah. It's not difficult setting it tomorrow either, you know. It's quite easy. The firelighters are down there. Firelighters are at the front. The only bit that's not actually going is the bit where the firelighters are, right there at the front. Because we've got paper and kindling. That's what I've got. Oh wow. We haven't even bothered opening the front door. Don't really need to. Could boost it up a bit. Don't think we need to open the front door. Look, it's going. Look how whooshing, whooshy, whoosh, whoosh. The firelighters are in there. That's incredible. I think they are. Oh, there's one down there in the corner. See, I can see that, but the phone doesn't pick it up. It doesn't pick it up the same. Aye, so it's quite a dangerous world we live in, eh? I was watching a video by Paul Burgess about the net zero thing. It's absolutely insane. I don't think people really realise what they've got planned. The net zero thing. It's absolutely insane. I mean, these people really need locking up, but they're advising the government. They're advising the C40 cities like Sadiq Khan. So these are real things, real reports. I mean, they're going to put us back 300 years. I think that's a crucial thing. It's going to put us back 300 years. And they'll carry on. You know, the elite. So it's really communism we're looking at. There's a thing on the Braised Blether tonight about Grangemouth, how they're going to build a hydrogen plant. You know, it's like, fuck off. You know, why don't we just fucking carry on the way we are? Use the oil that's in the North Sea. Oh no, we don't want to use it. Well, we are using it, but we're just, it's all political bullshit. We are using oil more than ever. So it's not interesting when I started watching. Really, so essentially, you know how they've always gone on about Nazis. It's quite a common slur to accuse somebody of being a Nazi. Well, all that stuff still goes on. Social engineering. You know, it's under a different guise. So the net zero stuff could fall under that. Social engineering. Led by politicians who are numpties for the World Economic Forum. So they're part of that club, which is pretty much a Nazi sort of thing, yeah. Klaus Schwab, I think he's even descended from them, yeah. So that's their next attempt for world domination, and they're doing not a bad job of it actually. So they want to take everything from you, you'll have nothing and you'll be happy. Yes. So it's quite annoying when people can't conceptualise things. So this other book, I've started watching this video about this book. What the hell is the book called? Paul Burgess is doing a review on it. It's fucking brilliant. It's about this Russian guy, and really all I've heard of it so far, it was only like 5 or 10 minutes. I listened to the video because I'm busy, right? But it's not that I don't want to. I will listen to it. I might even get the book. But what it's saying is that the social engineering doesn't, well, that politicians try to implement doesn't really work. I think that's what it's about. I think that's what the book's about. So I'll have to find out for sure. But so everyone, it's quite horrifying when you start thinking about it all. I think sometimes it's not good for my mental health actually. It's probably easier just to ignore everything and just say there's nothing to see here. You know, I think it's probably safer. I had a friend, I keep thinking about him, Paul. What do you keep going on about these things for? It's like, oh, you know, somebody has to. We can't just carry on believing everything's okay, you know? So these have been lying for about a year. Well, not a year. A while anyway. So I thought we better get the fire going. It seems to be going alright. I'll go and find out what that book's called. When history had other plans. So if you want to see the review, it's Climate Realism by Paul Burgess. Yeah. So it seems pretty good.
Collectivization, when 7 million Ukrainians were starved to death, they were not so just Ukrainians, but mostly they were Ukrainians. We treat them as two separate events. Actually, they were part of the same thing. So the Soviet Union achieved its staggering superiority in terms of armament over Germany because it treated its own citizens so poorly.
So what you mean is it traded flesh in effect for
yes.
It traded people for armament.
Yes, I actually use the phrase turning corpses into tanks.
I see. So I mean, well, give me an example of how it badly treated the people. Explain that. Wasn't it meant
just
to
what
be
I was thinking.
Mecca?
Socialism is not meant to benefit the people. Socialism is meant to benefit the power-hungry people who are in charge. It's like any social movement.
Yes.
These social movements are never aimed at achieving what they say they will achieve. Just like environmentalism is not about the environment.
Yes.
And feminism is not about the rights of women. So socialism is not about the rights of the workers.
Wow.
This is what they say, but they actually achieve the opposite. And under socialism, more people were enslaved than under any other system.
So what he said was, environmentalism isn't about the environment, feminism isn't for women. Hey! I always knew that. As the wee thing starts spinning. That's it getting hot. It spins for ages, even after the fire dies out, it keeps spinning. So, beware of feminism, women. If any women are watching this, don't fall for that shit. But I reckon a lot of people are thick, aren't they? They fall for that shit. They think they're getting something out of it. I fell for that's another thing about the transgender thing. A lot of people fight with me, and I think they're fighting transgender ideology. They don't realise that it's me. I'm here. I'm a person. I don't represent that ideology. I might be a victim of it, aye. Or I could be a victim of feminism. Certainly I'm probably a victim of feminism, without a doubt, yeah. So I think a lot of people, it sounds a bit, I suppose I'm being a bit wishful thinking here, but a lot of people on YouTube are really nasty. And they're really nasty to a lot of people, including me, and especially in these topics. And I think they seem to have lost their humanity. Or maybe there's no humanity on YouTube. Maybe you can just write what the fuck you like and not care about who it is you're talking to. There's a person on our side, or is there? Is there a computer on our side? Well, there's a person for the most part. So I think that's a big thing with it, is that I think they're fighting, these people are fighting the transgender ideology and they're embracing the feminist ideology, which is their mistake. Who do I mean? Well, I'm not going to go into that now, am I? So that's the firelighting session over. We got off to a flying start. Look how quick it's been. It's going like a train already. Yeah. Bitter and twisted. Enough of that. I think I need to step back a bit from worrying about stuff. I'm all ready for tomorrow. I'm going to have a great weekend. Very busy weekend. We'll be there. Oh, look at that. Oh dear. Oh, right against the glass. That's why you have to keep the bloody door shut. Imagine if I was away through there and the door wasn't shut right. That falls out. Comes right over there. Lands on the floor. Sets fire at the coffee table. Bang. Yeah, you're out of a house. Alright. Travelodge it is then. Right. Right.
Massive egos, and you all just need to get in a room and sort yourself out then? Really? Because that's how it feels to a lot of people watching this. A lot of people are getting in touch.
Michelle, it's nothing to do with egos when it comes actually anecdotally heard from young women. But with that being said, I do.
I'm going to now talk about the minimum wage, where you say your claim is there's chapters like this with headings the minimum wage basically lowers the wages of the poorest. So please explain that. You'd think it'd be the opposite.
Well, it's not the opposite, considering that getting the minimum wage up leads to unemployment. And if somebody is unemployed, his wage is zero. So the more you increase the minimum wage, the more people get zero. That's the gist of it.
Yes. I mean, I've always understood that, by the way, and I've actually run my own business for many, many years. I was managing director and employing a lot of people, and the last thing any employer wants to do is get rid of good people. Yeah, and the best thing every employer wants to do for their own sake is keep good people and make sure you don't lose them. Yes, so there's that balance all the time. If someone is not worth it, in the end, there's no choice, because you're going to become uncompetitive if you don't act any other way. And that's how the whole society's built. So it was an issue I was in total agreement before I read the chapter in my case, but it will shock lots of people. And you go into detail on this. So, not happy with just dealing with economics like that, we'll deal with feminism. Let's move on to feminism.
Feminism.
How feminism...
Right.
As you go into the book about feminism, tell me about your views on that.
Well, it's not matter of views. It's another thing that could be factually verified, and which is very simple. And it is that feminism lowers birth rates in the West, and the West is the only society where women have rights. So eventually, the immigrants in the West who have more children will inherit the West.
Right.
Simple as that.
Yes, that's all there is to it. It's very simple.
Right.
It's again unintended consequences. I mean, minimum wage, feminism, all these movements, they are not about they never benefit those they claim they would benefit. See, the politicians say that if they increase the minimum wage, this is good for the workers. No, it's good for the politicians.
Yes,
make a career out of it.
correct.
It's for those who are supposed to benefit. Just like feminism is never good for the women. Just like aid for Africa is not good for the Africans. Or just like environmentalism is not good for the environment.
Correct. One of the things, we'll move on to that. One of the things I found perfectly. So tell me your views on how environmental is making the environment worse.
Like I said, all these movements never aim at achieving what they claim to achieve. Because when you think of it, if they achieve it, they will be out of business. If the environmentalists ever solve the environmental problems, they will be redundant. So, like George Orwell said about the war in 1984, the goal of the war is not to be won. The goal of the war is to be everlasting. So they need to approach this problem with the greenhouse gases so that the solution will never come, but seeking the solution will be everlasting.
Wow.
And this is why this explains their contradictory position. Well, the only way to achieve, possibly from the point of view of physics, but also from economic point of view and political point of view, net zero, would be to use nuclear. But they're against nuclear.
Yeah.
And this doesn't make sense from the point of view of environmentalism, but from the point of view, of the environment. But it makes perfect sense from the if we consider the interest of the environmentalist movement, because nuclear would solve the issue, and they will be redundant. They will be out of business. So they need to solve the issue in such a way that it will never be solved. But at the same time, they need to continue solving it because they obtain power and influence in the process. So environmentalism is not about the environment, it's about certain people who claim they're fighting for the environment.
Why are they doing it though? Why are they doing it?
They're obtaining power.
Power, yeah, he
influence,
said power.
Control.
Control, yes.
It's all
Power.
about control.
Yes, all of these movements are like this.
Yeah.
The woke movement is like this. The
Are
political...
there any other chapters any other topics you'd like to deal with before we carry on?
Actually, I would like to make some more parallels.
Yes.
Socialism and National Socialism were like this.
Yes.
For example, when they described, an author described how Hitler's speeches were constructed during the 20s and the 30s. They had the same structure every time.
Yes.
So they would typically consist of three parts. First part, the situation is bad. So there is big inflation, we were treated badly, the Versailles Treaty, all that. Part second, what is the solution? And he leads
three
the
parts.
listeners that there is only one solution. And then
The final
who
solution.
could achieve this solution? And he leads the listeners to the conclusion that he is the only one to achieve this solution.
Yeah.
And when you think of it, all these social engineering movements basically go through the same phrases. They identify or invent a problem so that they could come as the only saviors and they could obtain power in the process. So basically, what's the gist of Hitler's speeches? Give me power to help you. And this is basically what all social engineers ever say. This is what Lenin said. This is what the environmentalists say today. The woke today, they want power to solve some issue, supposedly. They're the only saviors of this imaginary or real issue.
I a tremendously good chapter on foreign aid, which doesn't
Foreign aid.
achieve it's declared objectives. Yes? Because
Yeah.
the UK at the moment is giving away 12.6 billion a year on just green foreign aid, which I've always argued does a lot of harm to the countries it goes to. And you do a whole chapter on that. You're going on about the minimum wage. Less rape jokes, more rape. That's another heading. You know, the contradiction.
Less rape jokes, more rape.
And so on. Freeing workers enslaved them. Attempts to prevent World War II made it happen, and so on. It's an incredible book, and almost essential reading for anyone with a brain, I think.
Anyone with a brain,
I'd
aye.
like to congratulate you on it because it is
The thinkers.
absolutely brilliant. I really is. I can't think of a better book I've read. And I don't, another fact, same theme as you said, a fact, and fact. Just look at it again. Just look at this issue again. Just look at that issue again with that same theme. When history had other plans, history got in the way. You're a breath of fresh air. That's all I can say on that.
Mr. Bogorov.
So again, thank you very much
Amazing.
for giving me
Absolutely amazing
giving
book.
my public the time to experience this. Thank you.
Paul.
Do you have a nest pension?
So that's going to do it, folks. As you can see, smoke mirrors, feminism is bad for women. They tried to prevent the Second World War and it caused it. Environmentalism is bad for the environment. Well, yeah, so there we go, you get the gist. So that's a great book. And I didn't even plan that, it just sort of happened. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Heating up. It's got to be within, see what it is, the dial. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye. Bye.